execution of justice and of execution. There's simply no kinder way of death than a swift and painless death. Everyone on earth would vote for that if they were allowed to vote on it. And though it may surprise you, the capitalist system will remain in place until somebody comes up with something better. Something that serves the needs of most and not the few at the expense of the many. I am a capitalist, don't get me wrong. I like my money and I want to keep it. But I also want to share a large percentage of it in order to stop massive preventable misery and pain. Does that make me crazy in America? Yes, it does. I want a new kind of capitalism, one not fueled by wars, one that doesn't pass its wealth to a handful of white guys and call that free trade, one where the elderly actually get paid their retirement money. We'll have capitalism, but we'll have social programs and education and compassion. I'm talking about a system that rewards hard work and ambition, that cares for its weakest, and allows the richest nation on earth to provide health care for its own children, for God's sake, and you don't get called a feminazi for saying that. Capitalism and socialism will combine into peopleism, where both ideas work together for a functional system. Solutions. No one shall cling blindly to a single unyielding ideology just because some bloated talk show host who tells the poor to tighten their belts, or that damn Ayn Rand book. People in societies don't work like perfectly predictable machines. You actually have to have compromise, adjust, and make reasonable choices. You have to find solutions. Blessed be common sense. The Middle East crisis. The Middle East crisis, yes, it can be solved too. And I have figured out how to do it. As Prime Minister of Israel, I will introduce a bill into the Knesset that will simply pay the Arabs not to shoot at the Jews. For far less than the cost of Israel's 250 nuclear warheads, we can build schools and hospitals and give every Palestinian a great job. Just 10 of the Jewish billionaires on this earth have more than enough to transform the occupied territories into heaven. We can put the POW back in Palestinian. American Jews who support the settlements in Arab territories must go and live in them. Freeing up their homes in Beverly Hills for Palestinians who choose to leave their homelands. Any Israeli settlements to be built in the capital of Palestine, East Jerusalem, must be built for Palestinians to live in. This way, the Israeli economy can keep going. Israeli companies can keep building housing so that Palestinians can have good places to live, as they are the majority of Israel's labor force. Just like in this country, how we have turned on our labor force. It's not smart. Arizona, who's going to raise your children and clean your homes? No more wars will be necessary with simple and basic labor issues being solved. Not religion. That's a big cover for an underlying labor issue. Arab billionaires, Christian billionaires, Russian and Chinese billionaires can kick in and solve the Middle East problem too. Why does it only have to be the Jewish people? The Jewish people are sick and tired of being used as the world's moral hostages. No, you shut up. Any Hamas or Zionist type who tries to interfere with the labor unions and grab the money will be marched to the guillotines and subsequently beheaded. And isn't that easier and more productive than some endless bloody conflict? So saith the gospel of common sense. Happy Mother's Day. As President of the United States and Prime Minister of Israel, a twofer, I will shut down those who make the Jewish people their moral hostages, and that is namely the Rothschild banking family, who coincidentally are the reason people hate Jews. But it is time for all grudges and blood libels to be done. I don't like what the Jews say about Christians, and I don't like what the Christians say about the Jews. I don't like the way either of them talk about Islam, and I don't like what Muslims say about Jews and Christians. I simply care nothing for any of your religions, as all three are fundamentally flawed, unlike the Church of Common Sense, right from the start. They call God a he instead of she. And all three would love to burn me at the stake for saying that. In the New World, every position of power evacuated by an arrested and beheaded pedophile or bankster will be filled with a grandmother who has pledged to create heaven on earth for all children, animals, and humans with the stolen money we have recovered. Each grandmother is responsible for at least 100 people around her, which is the normal. And she answers to the grandmother at the top of her district. Each grandmother in charge of a district answers to the Tribunal Council of Matriarchs. The titular heads of the Worldwide Association of Matriarchal Tribunals will answer to the head of the world family, which is, of course, me. And in this new age, war is no longer a business. War profiteering is punishable by the blessed guillotine. And to keep these deaths to a minimum, all presidents, prime ministers, and queens, there will be no kings. All come here, come closer. Each grandmother who is responsible for at least 100 people around her, which is normal, answers to the grandmother at the top of her district. Each grandmother in charge of a district answers to the Tribunal Council of Matriarchs. The titular heads of the Worldwide Association of Matriarchal Tribunals will answer to the head of the world family, which is, of course, me. And in this new age, war is no longer a business. War profiteering is punishable by the blessed guillotine. And to keep these deaths to a minimum, all presidents, prime ministers, queens, there won't be any kings. All prime ministers, queens, and presidents will be required to fight in the very first infantry wave of any war they authorize. Trust me, this will make for some productive peace talks, people. Why have I been chosen to deliver the message of female intelligence and its divinity to a deaf world of males? I have asked my God that question, and she answered, "Hey, why not you, Roseanne?" Indeed, why not each of us? Let's stop propping up bullshit and reflecting it back at twice its size. Let's drop out, ladies. Let's plant gardens. Let's not buy in. Let's divest. Let's get real. Let's take back the real estate between our ears and get green like a son of a bitch. Let's start our own schools and teach our kids to heal the world and not destroy it. Let's help each other first before we help men or their gods. Let's be selfish for our own sake, and there's just this once. I know the thought of that seems blasphemous and horrific, but we have to do it. The truth of the light of reality will illuminate all that we see and all that we do. Ladies, I implore you, join me in the Church of Common Sense, in the Green Tea Party movement. And with your vote, I promise to usher in this new age, the Roseanne Archy.